Around 2015, I was surfing YouTube, watching speed paints to pass the time, and a certain video caught my attention. It was of a speed paint of a demon, a woman demon with glowing lava skin and debris making up her body, and long silky red flowing hair. I was curious about it, and when watching the video, I was kind of skipping it from time to time since the video was about 30 minutes. Usually, speed paints that I watch range around 5 to 10 minutes, but anyways, aside from that, if I recall correctly, I also kind of used it as background noise while doing my own painting because it was like playing a playlist of several songs, and one of them was the Seven Nation Army song that I discovered at that time. Nonetheless, I checked the description and discovered that this character being painted was actually in a webcomic. Now at that time, webcomics to me were just rage comics, basically the old memes of my time like derp and troll faces and stick figures and 4 panels. Traditional comics, on the other hand, were professional, printed, and inked. But when I discovered Ava's Demon through that speed paint video, upon clicking the link and loading up the website, everything I thought about webcomics and the internet changed. On the website of Ava's Demon, I wasn't met with inked lines or meme doodles, but a fully painted, professionally rendered user interface of a worn red book with cultish or demonic symbolism. The buttons accompanying it that would take me to the start, archive, and other links regarding the comic and the artist/author were actually crumpled pieces of paper rather than some boring minimalist design. The entire webpage was just full of theme and flavor, and I wasn't even reading the comic yet, but I felt as though I was already transferred into some other place away from reality. Just the way everything fit together. The worn out book, the crumpled paper buttons, the red pencil. The website was just oozing with this aura. Which brings me to the best part, which was the comic itself. Firstly, I wasn't met with the traditional 4-panel structure, or something like the inked professional store-bought comics. I was greeted with a slideshow/storyboard layered on blank old paper from a book, which tied into the book on the landing page instead. Where when you click the book, you read the comic this way. So it was like actually opening that demonic looking book, and that's how the comic is introduced, which was just great stuff. Then the art. It wasn't inked, it wasn't lined, flattened, and shaded. It wasn't the traditional comic style that I would normally see, but rather fully rendered paintings. Each panel was a piece of art, and because of the slideshow method it was presented as, when you read it, it was like watching a DreamWorks animation. This movie-level quality of comics, not video or animation, though there would be tidbits of that later on, but mostly comics, gave me this cool new experience. Especially the scenes where you could see the modularity of it, elements being moved around with the same background. It created a sequence akin to motion where my imagination would just fill in the gaps. This quality and standard of making webcomics was mind-blowing. The only other webcomic I could see rival this type of flavor and quality of art would be Lackadaisy Cats, which I would find out about later on. The way the story was painted and made, as I came to find out, was just by using the default round brush, balancing between soft and hard as revealed in the mini tutorial provided by the artist in one of the crumpled paper buttons. Speaking of the crumpled paper buttons, they are several links not only to the archive and directory of the comic, but also about the author, her background, other works, and even the references and brush packs she uses. Which reminds me, I still have that. The Blur's Good Brush Pack 4.0 still in my 2012 Photoshop program that I use, though mostly for placeholders and quick concept art. The website was not just an online comic book, It was the personal space of one artist in this cyberspace we call the internet. How she paints, what she likes to paint, tidbits of information about the creator that supplements the work of art that is Ava's Demon. It made me wonder about my own little place in this cyberspace, making a website and all with my own flavor, art, and style for my own story. I could say I wanted to be just like her. That is of course not exactly what happened, and as I went into my own art journey, though now that I have acquired ample experience, perhaps I should pursue this thing I've always wanted, armed with all that I learned along the way. But back to Ava's Demon. Besides being an artist's corner on the internet, it is after all a comic website that houses, of course, a comic. Now, from everything I've just told you, it wouldn't do justice to tell you the story outright. The best way I can describe the whole thing, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's like a surrealist JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, with the stands in particular. Last time I read it, they escaped on some ship, and then when I would come back from time to time to check up on it, the story would progress a bit, but they'd still be on that ship. Hopefully nowadays they get off that ship. I wouldn't want another Berserk thing happening since in that manga, the updates were so far in between that they were on a ship for like 10 years or so outside the story. I can just imagine having put on hold reading Ava's Demon when they got into the ship and having their shenanigans. Then I, for like 5 years or so, went on an art crisis, found myself through my own art journey and finished making 3 comics, only to return to reading Ava's Demon and see they're still on the ship. But that's just a humorous idea, since although they were on that ship, other events like flashbacks and other side characters were heavily expanded on during that time. So perhaps that was most likely the reason for their longevity in that vessel, rather than some kind of delay in updates. Especially as of recent updates, I believe they're about to land. Beyond Ava's Demon, Michelle Kosachkowski is an animator through and through, working at various studios and freelancing. As a person who's never done art professionally, I can't begin to imagine what it's like to go back and forth on doing art for your job and then doing art for yourself. Like, maybe at your work you get burnt out, and then when you finally do get time to do art for yourself, the creative juices are just empty because of using it all during work hours at a job. Although, I guess if you're obsessed enough, it won't really matter, because you kind of have like unlimited creative juice at that point, or in that situation. Not to mention the campaigns on Kickstarter she had to run for the physical copies of her book. What hurdles and business chicanery must have been going on there. Though the quality, style, and design of everything to it being something you can hold in your hand was nice to imagine. Unfortunately, I didn't know how to do money on the internet at that time since I was still a kid, so I never got those books. But man, they are amazing. They must have been amazing to have them. Worth every penny. Another thing about her though is that I think she made the Spider-Girl tea enthusiast creature in Undertale. Because I remember watching a playthrough of Undertale and the credits were rolling and I caught Michelle's name. Surprised, I snooped on the web and found out about her part in the game. Michelle Kosachkowski was one of the artists that held a significant pillar in my art journey, along with the likes of Draw with Jazza, Miltonia's Arts, and I think that's all I can remember for now. Nonetheless, if it wasn't obvious enough, she has impacted many people with her works and contributions to games and animations, people who consume them and creators alike. Taking advantage of the digital cyberspace internet website medium and contrasting it with painted books and paper will be something I definitely won't forget and might be referencing on for my own future works. Michelle, the creator of Ava's Demon, was like, a hidden gem, at least to me at that time as a kid. Around that time in 2015. It was like a magical place that even today as I visited recently, it still retains that magic. The flavor, the just the everything about that place, the website, the comic, the story. It's just, it catches you. You know, it's like, it's art. Like, to me, that was like, this is the kind of art that I'd like to make, or at least, you know, something synonymous to this. Not exactly, but synonymous. To catch that feeling of awe and magic. And that's all I can say about her for now. Thank you for your time, and until then, see you.